to send it to you.
Okay, I got it. Yep, avoid legal snacks by telling people they're being recorded.
Oh, fun fact about that. In Virginia, only one party has to know. But if the party who doesn't know says, "Hey, you can't record me," then that undoes that.
Wait, that's crazy.
Yeah, Virginia is one-way recording.
Oh my god.
I remember a few years ago there was drama between like Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift about something like that.
It's back now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think maybe I did finally catch a whiff of something like that this morning. All right. Well, hello and good evening, morning, afternoon, or whatever to the Super Reality Family Podcast. I am Noah Stoner, and with me today are JC, Luke, and Patrick. So what'd you guys think of the most recent episode of Winners of War?
You know,
devastating.
Yeah.
I was very nervous going in.
Yeah.
Luke really got in my head about Tony getting advantage, getting it out, and
It should have happened.
Yes.
I did kind of accept it to be a reality that it would happen, but it didn't. It's all good.
Denise made it happen somehow.
Yeah, I feel like we were all calling the Parvati going out, but I feel like no one was expecting Sandra going out having an idol that was like about to expire. So
I did post the Advantage Get-In setup on the Denise Facebook fan page, and she commented on it very like giving nothing away at all, and she had to have been laughing when she made that. She had to have been laughing, just being like, "Oh, you wait until Wednesday."
She's stone cold in the game, and to you, that's crazy.
Oh, it was great. It was great.
What was Sandra thinking giving it to her though? Like can we try and break that down?
Yeah, you know what? On a rewatch, I don't think it was that bad actually, because to me, if I was Denise and somebody was coming to me wanting to work with me from the majority, I would want to work with that person and keep them in the game and get out either, Kim or Tony, who is voting you out and not telling you that you're going.
Yes.
I personally
huge threats
think
too.
that she could have kept in an ally and kept one of her.
We lost the last part of the sentence there, Luke.
She got rid of both. I was gonna say she burned both an ally and an idol for no reason, for a reason, but I feel like it would have been better to keep both.
But she kept a fire token.
Yeah.
So marginal gain.
Right.
Everybody in the
so I'm not too upset.
Yeah, I don't know why I guess she did all that for 2 tokens, but in reality she only got the 1, so it's interesting that she did all of that to get 1 or 2. I get the point that they don't really know what they're going to turn into yet, but Sandra kind of understands that 1 advantage can be 1 token early in the game, so later in the game it might be 2 or 3. But like, it's a weird risk to take when you could just use the idol and for sure make it to a supposed merge or like just the final 12 in general. So I don't know, a weird move, but it's crazy.
I mean, I think a big part of the motivation is she says that she never had that much power in her first season, even though she won. She never had the opportunity to make like a game-changing move. And I think using the 2 idols to save her and make sure that Jeremy was there was just making sure that her plan was foolproof, that she had like a definitive move that she was making. She was taking out one of the biggest names that was and I think she just didn't want to like kind of half-ass anything. If she was going to do it, she wanted to go all in. So I get it from that point of view. I just don't think it was. I think it was more of a great like resume point, but I don't know if it was the best thing to move her forward in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're fine. Do it. What are you gonna do? And so now maybe though Tony and Kim have kind of earned Denise's trust too. Maybe that's what she was thinking. Maybe she had Sandra's trust, but then kind of getting rid of Sandra when she could have also gotten rid of either Tony or Kim, but didn't. Maybe she kind of gets both of their trust too. Maybe that's part of it. Especially since I don't know how she feels about Jeremy now, since Jeremy did vote against her.
Right.
So who knows what's gonna happen there.
So it sounds like, and my normal caveat, we weren't there. There's so much we don't see, but it sounds like she knew Jeremy was going to be voting for her. It sounds like there was this play that she knew the moving parts to, and Jeremy was being told to vote for her, and Jeremy was going to vote for her. And so that's why she actually played the second idol for Jeremy and I'm just hypothesizing here. There was too much knowledge to be true. Things were going too well to be true. 4 votes were coming to her, and she had this idol. They're playing her. That's
Right.
like they're actually going Jeremy. There are votes coming for her, but like they're actually going Jeremy. And that second idol play was a really smart move. It harkens back to Heroes and Villains, the Parvati double idol play.
Yeah.
You got to cover your bases, and I don't think there's going to be any hard feelings between her and Jeremy moving forward for this particular vote. But I don't know for sure. We don't know everything.
Right.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. If Sandra gives her the idol, Sandra says, "Hey, everybody is voting for you." Why doesn't Denise then go to Jeremy and say, "Hey, I have an idol. Let's me and you vote for somebody, and then I'll use the idol on myself." And then, at that point, there's no worry that, there's going to be a stray vote for Jeremy, and then on the revote, he goes home. At that point, those 2 votes are sending somebody home if the other votes are for Denise. So I just don't see why, if she wants to work with Jeremy so bad and she trusts him enough to plan an idol on him, why not just bring him into a plan and make those 2 votes the deciding votes?
Because regardless, she's going to be safe. She's going to play an idol on herself. So it's a good point. She could have just made that move.
Yeah.
But Jeremy doesn't necessarily live through that. So if they're faking Jeremy out and he's voting for Denise and one of them is voting for Denise, but then 2 of them split off to Jeremy, then Jeremy still goes. And yes, Denise is safe, but she is trying to keep any numbers she can at the moment. And I'm going to absolutely eat my words from previous weeks. We're not going into Merge next week.
Yeah.
Spoiler, we're not going into Merge next week unless they faked press photos.
There's
We're getting 2 challenges next week, and they look okay.
Oh, 2 challenges. Is it reward?
They want to
They've got a reward
advertise.
challenge, yeah.
Wow.
I'll get to it at the
I'm sure
end.
they would want to advertise.
How long of an episode is it going to be?
Oh.
Could it be like a double episode?
It could
Probably
be a
just
double
one.
episode. But they're definitely 2 team challenges.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Like, it's not the
100%
edge,
they're
like,
2
they're not
team
bringing
challenges.
someone back now still anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. If they're doing 2 challenges, one could be an edge challenge. Or no.
Or is it like, is it set up
No, I'll share the press photos in the chat later with you guys, but they are team challenges for Dekal Sele and Yara, and
Okay.
I think you see every player in the photos for both challenges. I think I have to double check, but I think you see everybody. I don't think it gives away who's voted out. That being said, the Edge of Extinction photos don't have Sandra in them.
Huh.
And I did see a spoiler that there might be somebody that raised the flag.
Oh.
Possibly Sandra.
That'd
Which
I
be
makes
saw
sense.
that there was some screenshot from like a preview or something that the flag was raised in one of the promotional videos.
Edge-wise, that makes sense, because if she's been sitting out, or I should say edit-wise, it makes sense, because if she's been sitting out every challenge, that might be the end of the arc, where she's like, I'm not going to make it in a challenge, so why would I try?
Well, but you can't edit out her sitting in a challenge. I mean, I don't think, but I mean, I do think that she knows she doesn't have a chance to get back in the game. So if she feels like going home, I don't think anybody would blame her. It's not like, what impact is she going to have on the rest of the game?
Right.
Other than voting. I mean, and Sandra's my favorite player of all time. That's not a diss. I'm just saying she's not getting back in.
Yeah.
I feel like
No,
there's
true.
almost some sort of legacy damage that would happen to that, though. I mean, when Keith and whatever her name was when left Extinction the first,
Wendy.
yeah, Wendy.
Wendy.
Jeff was trying to push saying that there's no shame in leaving Edge, but for some reason I feel like there is.
Okay, so for new players, there's no shame in leaving Edge. For winners at War, it's a little bit of a different mentality. You're playing with a different set of people. And on the one hand, you're going to jury. And if you really know for sure that you are on the outs with every single player in the game,
Right.
leaving Edge, not the worst thing in the world. You're going to have to win 6 challenges back to back, maybe 5 challenges back to back once you get back in. And this is for the second returning. But for the first returning, there's no reason to leave, like, from between now and the first returning.
Yeah.
Maybe Amber raising the flag would make a little bit of sense. It wouldn't with Rob there, but
Right.
like but Sandra, like right now, 3 days does not make sense. I'm hoping it's just a visual for the preview, not for any actual happenings.
Right. Maybe she was fishing.
But speaking of the returning challenge, I would like to make another correction to things I've said in the past. Somebody shared a much better photo of the Edge of Extinction menu, and you can purchase the advantage 3 times. Yes.
He's like,
sorry. Take the credit. Take the credit. I wasn't. We had we've had such a large discussion in our text chat the past couple days that I didn't remember who said what.
Yeah, that's been a lot.
So
we've been home. We have time.
You take the credit. You make the announcement.
No, you go ahead.
You can purchase the advantage 3 times. So, and the past couple of weeks, we keep saying, hey, we don't know how this advantage is going to work. Can you get it once? Can you get it multiple times? Is it worth doing the idol? And now we have a set. You can do this 3 times, and I think Natalie's going to go all in on all 3.
Yeah, my question is she going to go all in at the merge, or is she going to wait until the final 6 and wait and use all of her fire tokens then? I think that she will go for the merge one. I think that makes more sense, and I think she is probably dying to get back in the game. She's probably bored out of her mind, and she's so competitive. But I do think there is a strategy. There's something to be argued about waiting until final 6.
Definitely.
I think this is the wrong season to try to play the Chris Underwood move. These players hate the fact that Edge of Extinction is included, and if Natalie's going to want any chance, she's got to come back now and like that actually start really playing. She needs to play a Chris game from the Rick position.
Yep. Yeah.
I think if she comes back in at merge and just plays like a really solid game all the way to the end, I don't think that people are going to hold it against her. I don't think that she has to play like a phenomenal game in order to win at the end if she comes back in the merge. I don't think she's going to win, but I do think that like nobody is going to blame her for being first out necessarily. I don't think there's going to be that much of a stigma on it.
So do you think those 3 advantage buys is probably going to be like another obstacle course race thing, and then each one is kind of an advantage for each obstacle?
Oh, what if you could skip forward to the next section and it was a sectioned off, like we're cutting 2 people out here, 2 people out there, and then you play for the final?
That'd be pretty big.
That'd be broken.
That's been an advantage before.
Yeah.
It could be, or it could just be like there's 3 different parts of the challenge and you get like a small advantage in each part. They could do it a lot of different ways.
They've done it in the past too, where it's like one of the ball challenges and they make like one less.
Yeah, or it could be like something to do with endurance, and like you can like wait a certain period of time before you start the endurance.
Or it could be like you get 3 free drops.
That'd be big.
It'd be huge.
Pat, what did you think about Tyson buying peanut butter?
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't been here since Tyson's been voted out, so this is a great full circle. I thought it was very entertaining. I was texting one of my friends during it. Well, actually, he was texting me during. He was like a couple minutes ahead, and he was like, "Tyson's so stupid." And I was like, "Oh my god, what? Did he like leave or something?" And then he got a fire token. I was like, "He's gonna buy peanut butter. I can't wait." I really couldn't wait. Like once I saw that he got the token, I was like, "I can't believe it." I've watched some of his Instagram lives. Cause I follow. He's one of like the few I follow on like my Instagram. I follow a bunch on my Twitter. But his rationale is he thinks it's the best advantage for him, so I can't fault him for that. But if it turns out that one of those advantages is that 1 coin or 1 token equals something like we were saying before, like a free drop or a free pass, like pass to the next level of a 3-rung challenge, it comes off as stupid. But if this is something that's going to build up his endurance in that challenge, then for sure I think it's a good move for him. But he was also saying that, he doesn't want to whittle his body weight down because he knows from his first 3 times playing that once you get past a certain point of body weight, it takes months to get that back, even your energy normal. So I think in his head, he was kind of like, he bulked up a little bit, gained a little weight before the season. So he wants to keep that. But in terms of like what I would do, I definitely wouldn't have done the same thing. Because like, let's say it was like a newbie season. I feel like I would just be like, oh, let's figure out what the advantage is, even if it was something that wouldn't help me specifically. But he's a winner, and he's trying his hardest.
It was a massive thing of peanut butter. I could not believe how much peanut butter that was. Like, that is days of sustenance.
Yeah, and he was saying on Instagram Live, too, that he was like, yeah, like, I only eat, like, 6 or 7 scoops max a day of the little shell, which in and of itself is probably, like, 200, 300 calories, and he's just doing that 4 or 5 times throughout the day. He's getting probably close to 2,000 calories. I mean, he's a big dude, tall dude, so that's not enough, but it's still, compared to rice or maybe a coconut or a papaya, whatever they might have on the edge, it's, like, way away of what anyone else is getting, so I think it's smart.
Barren.
It looks like there's no like fruit, maybe coconuts, but I haven't seen them eat any. Definitely rice.
So I have to say, I got to weigh in. Yeah, peanut butter, not the play I would make, but I'm not going to fall. Even if it doesn't go his way, even if he gets out like last to Natalie in a situation where him picking up and restarting, like I don't think this is a misplay. The only thing on the menu that I would say is a misplay is I think a 6-pack of beer is on there.
Ooh,
I think that might be a misplay.
That like hurts. That's like not that's not an advantage. That's like, oh, I'm gonna be here for 20 more days. Let me use one of my 10 coins on a pack of beer. Like otherwise, why are you getting beer? You're dehydrated. That would be disgusting.
It's gonna be warm after like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can't save them. You basically have to like rail a 6-pack of beer and then just go to sleep.
That's like on the last and you can use your fire tokens. Everyone's like, okay, everyone pile your fire tokens in. We're having a kegger tonight.
Oh,
but I do think there's something to be said for him buying peanut butter, because it's almost like if everyone else zigs, you might want to zag. Like, if you know that no one else is buying food and they're all going to save it for the advantage, like, I don't know. Maybe just if you think it's a long shot to get back in the game anyway, just try something different.
Yeah. Preserve your body weight a little bit. It's probably only like 1,500 calories a day, but at least you're not suffering that bad. And you have a huge thing, which will probably last him weeks if he's on there for a week or two.
I think it's kind of like the same argument of like during immunity challenges when Jeff like offers people food in exchange for not competing type thing. And it's people. I usually see people crap on the ones who choose not to compete, but honestly, I feel like 9 out of 10 times I would take the food over. The immunity.
100%.
Although peanut butter specifically wouldn't probably be enough for me, but like if it was pizza or like a thing of ribs or something, that then I definitely think about it.
Yeah, that's sustenance
for sure.
Yeah. Peanut butter's gonna last though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was next after Edge this episode? The first 10 minutes I was playing a video game. When the episode started, I was trying to get to an ending point.
Well, in the beginning, it was just like celebration that Rob had left the game. Like, they were all just confessionals, like, oh, it's so nice not having Rob here. Adam said the Wicked Witch is dead, which I thought was a weird thing to say.
Adam being Adam.
Yeah, and then Adam is immediately like, it's great not having Boston Rob here, but now I'm probably going home next. Yeah. Screw the pooch on that one.
Is this just me? I don't like any of them.
I
feel bad. I feel bad. Is it just me? I really don't like them.
I only don't like.
I can't keep
like Ben and Sarah.
I like Ben, Sarah, and Sophie.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean,
Okay,
I'm not currently liking Adam.
Adam is really, maybe he's like poisoned the water hole for me, because every time they show someone with a green buff, I'm like, just stop. I know he's coming up. And listen, the reason I got back into Survivor this late in my life is because, not late in my life, but like after watching as a kid, was because of Millennials versus Gen X. And I really found his story compelling, and like it really gripped me back in. I've been there watching everything since. I didn't watch a lot before, but still. And this season, he has sincerely like poisoned the well for me. That like anytime he's on there, I'm like, oh man, come on, like why? I know he's like really like grinding and trying to like get in there, but I don't know. I don't dislike the other three. It's just Yara to me is just like every time they come on, I'm like, oh come on, please.
Yeah, I would say Adam definitely has like he thinks he's hot shit attitude nowadays.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's on my team. He's still in the game.
I forgot who he was on.
So yeah.
Just to be clear, I think he's a good player. I just don't like his personality.
100%. I think they're all good. This season they're all doing okay. Ben, I don't know.
I don't
It's
know
hard
what
to
Ben
say.
is doing.
Yeah.
It's working, but I don't know what he's doing.
He's won before, might have been helped by producers, fine. This time he's still there and probably is gonna make the merge, I guess. And Sophie and Sarah are playing their hearts out like they did their first time for Sophie and their second time for Sarah. Sarah played her heart out both times, but I think they're great players. I think I started this season saying I hated Sarah. I actually have turned around. I like her personality. She can do it in confessionals now because what you see on talking on the side to Yul or talking on the side to Sophie, that's what you get in your confessionals now from her. And that is what I've always wanted. I've seen her do videos and interviews and all these things. She's putting it in confessionals now. And now I'm like, okay, I know you, Sarah. I get it. And I like her for that.
I think all those comments of people saying that she's super boring is like finally, like, she's finally understood, like, okay, I'm on a TV show. I should be entertaining. I shouldn't just talk like this. And I'm from Iowa, don't you know? Like, no, we don't want that. There was a fun confessional from Ben. He's saying like that he was changing his game by like building really strong relationships this time. And he kind of said like, you know, him and Sarah are tight. He's like, Sophie is surprisingly a good person or something like that, which I thought was funny. But I don't know. I really like it because Ben and Sophie are like so polar opposite people that I'm like, those two are never going to work together. But, you know, even Ben can, you know, build a relationship with Sophie. So I'm appreciating that Ben is recognizing that his social game maybe lacked a little bit.
Right. That's a good perspective on it. That helps. Even just talking to you guys about it helps me think about it in a different way because all I can focus on is Adam. So this is a good misdirect from the rest of the tribe.
So we might find out next week. But if Yara had lost this week, is it a clear cut Adam's going home?
I don't think so.
I don't know either.
But I mean, it is a 2-2 vote, and who knows kind of how that would end up playing out. I don't think Ben would turn on Adam for the sake of turning on Adam. I mean, I think it'd be a decision for him, and maybe he would just so they don't have a 2-2 vote, but
just so that they don't have rocks, or actually the steal a vote might come into play.
That's big right there.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking advantages when I posed the question.
No, yeah.
And in terms of power rankings, I put Sarah at the top because I think that she can just decide who goes home out of anybody. Like, but I put Sarah at the top, but after that, I'm like, Sarah could conceivably turn on Sophie. I don't think it's like just a 100% given fact that she is going to keep Sophie, but I think Ben probably safe, and I think that Adam is the likely boot in that scenario. Yeah. But if you want to make the argument of why Ben, Ben was the only person, between him and Adam, Ben had alliances on Sele. Adam has probably been telling them that he was on the bottom, like they didn't include him on the last vote, like no one wants to work with him. So there's an argument made both ways.
Mm-hmm. I think Ben is the smarter play, but I do think they'd go Adam because they're forming relationships with Ben and can maybe work with him in the future. I don't know. Right. And we never will know.
If I was in their position, I would keep Ben.
Well,
keep the people you can.
Yeah, that's true. Keep the people you can trust, and I think because I wonder what Sarah's relationship is with Yul too. Because in my head, a crazy move, like a winners at war move, if she loves Sophie, she is bonded with her like that. Don't get rid of Sophie. But another option is using her steal a vote from Adam and trying to turn it on Sophie using Ben's vote as well. Because in my head, we're seeing the edited version. In my head, I'm like, Sophie could feasibly win this season, and she'd be a good winner at that. It's not even that she'd be like taken to the end and win or have to do challenge. No, she is playing the game hard, and she has good bonds. But that's what we're seeing. So I'm curious out there if that's even a thought in their heads, like getting rid of Sophie. But it does seem like Sarah likes Freudian slip. I'm sad now, but. She likes Sophie. Yeah, I got really actually sad for a second, but yeah, so it's definitely an option for her. I feel like this is a tribe where it's like for example, DeCall next week. It's like it could be Tony, it could be someone else, but Tony's probably like the bigger person that's a threat there. For like Yara, it's like Adam's like the one that they could vote out, but there's 3 other people that feasibly are huge threats as well. It's just wild, for sure.
I really kind of don't know what to expect from any of the 3 tribes going into the next tribal.
Yeah,
it's
yeah, me either.
I don't know if I like the 3 tribes split though either. I don't know. I don't like going to 2 versus 3 kind of majorities.
I like the 3 tribes split, but I like it more from the start. It's a good anti-pagonging.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
because they're so small. They can't be a big group if there's only 6 total in the beginning. It's true.
Yeah, I feel like an ideal season for me is like start in either 3 or 2 tribes, and then at the swap go to 2 no matter what. If you start with 2, go to 2, and if you start with 3, go to 2, and then merge.
Right.
I'm still looking forward to that season where every single episode is a tribe swap. They do the one world format, and you pick your teams for the immunity challenge, and you keep those teams for the you pick the teams for the reward challenge. You keep them for the immunity, and then like it's part of the season. The next episode you're on new teams, and so you have to relationship with everybody.
Yes.
It's going to be too much for them to actually do. Like the stories would be so hard to tell, but I wish they would do it.
Yeah,
That would be
that's
sick.
a good like live reality game concept.
It'd be kind of like Big Brother, except with a bunch of team challenges instead of individual challenges.
Yeah. And then half of them are safe, and the other half goes.
Yep.
Or whatever the number would be.
Yeah.
All right. So after they were celebrating Rob leaving, did we go over and kind of see the Wendell and Michelle relationship?
We got the Edge scene after that, which we pretty much already touched on. But there was we did get like a Rob confessional saying, this close to 8 million on this island, and I know that because I counted almost all of them. Rob, I don't even want to hear you.
Well, either way, Wendell is someone
over.
I definitely want to talk about today.
Yeah, let's get into it.
He was rubbing me the wrong way this week. He really was. His attitude was like, I don't know, he was just like pissed off, and he was like not even trying to not piss anybody else off.
I know.
It is weird, and I'm wondering if it's because like Michelle just being there is just like messing with his psychology, or maybe like he really is just fed up with the situation right now. I don't know, because I thought, I mean, even though like he didn't even get his name written down, but like I felt like he played this week horribly.
He did get his name written down.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Quite, yeah.
Yeah, they both.
This is not the Wendell we saw in Ghost Island. I was so excited to have him back, and I need to finish the season before I make any statements about Wendell this season.
Yeah.
I will say that they love to have a villain, and I think he gave him the content, and so they used it. I'm not necessarily saying that he's a terrible person. I'm not personally a fan of him. I've actually met him in real life.
Yeah, nice. He's on the list of people I want to.
Yeah. Well, okay. Brief anecdote. So Jessica Johnson from Triple H, she got married in Louisville, and that's where I used to live. So I was like the Instagram stories, all the survivors that were coming to her weddings. I was like, if they like to go to bars, if they're like going out, then I'm definitely gonna go and like meet all of these people. Because there was like, like 6 people from her season, and then Wendell was Desi's date. But anyway, like on the last day, I was working. It was a Sunday, and Desi, Ali, and Wendell were all at the Muhammad Ali Museum, which was like a block away from where I worked. So I went and like conveniently like ran into them in the Muhammad Ali gift shop, and I talked to Wendell for like probably 5 or 6 minutes.
Wow.
Was it before he was on the show?
And he was okay. No. Like he had been on Ghost Island.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, because this was about a year and a half ago, I think.
I almost drove up to a bar about an hour north of where I live. Because my friend who was bartending there, she sent me a picture and is just like, hey, do you know who this person is? And she's never watched Survivor, but she knows that I watch and talk about it and this, that, the other. And LJ was at her bar from Cagayan.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching that season now. That's so funny.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, if it was any other player, not literally any other player from that season, if it was one of the other players from that season that, I would have just hopped in my car and driven up there. But no, the bar that she works at is adjacent to a horse track, and he breeds horses or trains them or races them or something. He's in that world, so he comes up a couple times a year to where she works, and so one day soon maybe I'll meet my first Survivor player.
I know. I'm like patient. I live in this like New York City over the summer, and there's like a handful, a pretty decent chunk of them that live there. Never once. I've never seen any celebrity, and it's like a very new. What?
There are live reality games in New York City that Andrea Belke has played in. So
I know.
Get in on the live reality game action in New York City.
I'm trying. Well, the thing
Alta
is,
has played one that I played.
There's Survivor New York that I was applying to, but then I was also like, also coronavirus like has really put in the halt and everything.
You can do it right now.
Right, like so maybe next summer, but like I'm gonna probably keep it to online reality games for this summer because I'm kind of afraid. But at the same time, I'm like, I live in like the heart. There's a lot of survivors that come through and all like around New York City, but I'm in like a Facebook Survivor page or Survivor Facebook page that's like New York Hangouts. So like hopefully one time this year I'll have a story that I've met some Survivor or Big Brother player.
I need to get. Well, I guess Luke's probably the only one who's close enough, but I need to get one of y'all to come play in my live game at Katsucon next year. It plays closer to the Amazing Race. We do kind of our own. We do our own format a little bit, but we had a player from King of the Nerds. I was telling Luke about last week.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's going to talk to some of his castmates, and we might have another one next year. I don't know. We'll see.
That's sick, though.
Should I share my contestant story?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
I haven't met any Survivor people, but I met Jason, Alex, Kevin, and Ramsey
Nice.
from UB19.
Nice.
Yeah, they had a meet and greet a few years ago during spring break in Iowa, which is just like a 3 to 4 hour drive from where I was. Josh Martinez was supposed to be there, and that's really why I went, but he wasn't. He didn't end up showing up. But yeah, all 4 of those guys and got pictures with them.
That's
Kevin is a player I'd love to meet. He seems like a
awesome.
genuinely nice, like fun person.
Oh yeah, and he's huge too. FYI, he's like
super tall.
8 feet tall, yeah.
That's what you never realize. That like when Luke was saying his story about Wendell, I was literally gonna ask you like, is he tall? Like that was like always my first thought.
Yeah, you saw like I'm 5'5", so I barely come to his shoulders.
Right.
Maybe I'll send you some of the pictures I have.
Yeah, no, like Wendell is a full head. Wendell is a full head taller than Nick.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Interesting. What I was actually talking to Wendell about was live reality games because he played one in South Africa. There was like a big charity event in South Africa where there was a live game. Him and Bryce and like Ramona from season 1 played in it. Timbertina was in it. A couple other people.
Yeah.
But I knew somebody that I played with in a live game was also playing in it. So I talked to him about that. And I was like, oh, you guys should like link up because, you know, you can say that you know me or something.
That's so funny. Was it Jack?
I think that panned out. Yeah, it was Jack.
Oh my god, you know him? That's so fun. I love how we're just on a
Jack
podcast. I'm like, oh my god. Well, he's on
Yeah,
Wendell's
I played in a live game with Jack Atkins.
That's so funny. Because he's on Bryce's podcast now. So funny.
Yeah.
Look at this little podcast like inception we have going on here.
Now we just need to get one of the 4 of us cast.
Right.
That's the goal.
Honestly, I think my best bet would be Luke.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Nice. So y'all can my audition tape now. You can give me tips.
Yeah.
It's unanimous. We need Luke to play in our and just like represent.
Yeah. I want to just know someone who's on it.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, going back to the episode.
Yeah.
Noah, what do you think of when like Michelle said that she wanted to vote for Wendell so then she could get Parvati's fire tokens, and then told Wendell about that? What do you think?
I thought that was a bit over the top. Like maybe that would be like a move in a season or 2 with fire tokens as more of a thing, but like,
yeah,
I mean, it shows that they're really trying to game the tokens to their advantage, especially with the other side of this fence with Sandra and the Denise situation. That they're really trying to use the tokens to their advantage. But yeah, like no one really knows kind of how the tokens are working at this point. So I think Michelle kind of telling Wendell that to be her plan that would definitely sketch me out if I was Wendell for sure. Yeah. And yeah, it might have been like a little, I don't know, a bit too much.
I think it's better to just ask for forgiveness rather than permission in this situation. It's like, just do it and then say, I'm really sorry afterwards. But what it showed me is that Michelle is way closer with Wendell than we were led to believe.
Yes. Because she's willing to tell him that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like they have that real life connection, and that's valuable no matter what kind of tension and history they actually really do have. But at the same time, that real life personal connection they have is probably a bit more awkward and tense than a lot of the other connections too. And I don't know the extent to the relationship either. And she made it sound like she said she was the one who got burned. So like, who knows really how that relationship ended? But
they were definitely
like
kicking
Michelle's, from like Michelle's perspective, like
alternate
it didn't
title.
end greatly. And
she keeps harping on that too.
Yeah.
Like, even in this episode, she said, "This is just like a relationship. He wants to take, and I'm always give." I'm just like, yikes! Like, I feel like this is every week we're gonna be getting. This is just like a relationship.
Yeah.
Michelle benefits from having Wendell around, though. Much more than Wendell benefits from having Michelle around in their current situation and in the merge situation. She had a controversial win. She is not a target, so having just any shield targets in the game, any of them benefits her.
Yeah, when Sandra was calling out the hyenas, she said Nick, Michelle, and Denise. Those are like the three that she named. So.
And then she got voted out by one of them. I can't. It's just too much.
But Wendell is definitely one of the big targets going into merge. He barely won his season, but boy, did he deserve to win his season. They both did, but he really put the work in for Laurel. Like, he is a huge get this guy out of here.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing is he's trying to play like the GOAT card. He's trying to be the asshole so that everyone thinks no one will vote for him in the end.
Right.
So they'll take him to the end. Maybe that's his strategy. But I don't know. He was really pissing me off. Like, if I was there, I would have had nothing against, going in, I would have had nothing against Wendell. But just being in that tribal council with him acting like that would have been like, bro, you're a dick and I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a perception in returning player seasons that you can be an asshole and get away with it because, game respects game, right? Like, you're going to vote for the best player. But I think we saw, in Heroes Villains, the reason that Parvy and Russell both didn't get awarded the win is because no one liked Russell. Parvy was associated with him. And, they were just willing to give it to the person that they liked better. And that's no disrespect to the Queen, obviously. But it's you can't, even
Queen Denise?
returning player. Yeah, I was gonna say, even if you're a returning player, you still have to play a social game in the sense that people have to like you to vote for you. You're just not
they're
gonna
voting
vote
for
somebody
$2 million. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna give that to some schlub you don't care for.
So does this episode, since we're kind of more on the Denise side of it, does this increase Denise's threat level going into 12 and the merge, or is it the same? I feel like that's a great move. But it's to me, it's comparable to Kelly playing her idol for Dean or giving Dean the idol right before merge, because this is even this is tenfold. It's even more than that. She voted out Sandra with 2 idols, protecting her and Jeremy in a minority alliance. She might make it to merge, but that's not going to go unnoticed.
She made the same play Parv made, and I'm really waiting for a player to say that so they can do a flashback to Heroes Villains.
Yeah,
I think it's similar in the sense that she played 2 idols, but I don't think it's super similar because Parv didn't play one on herself.
That's true. But she did play JT's idol to get JT out.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, but JT didn't give it to her, and it wasn't, I don't know. It is a little bit different. What I thought was interesting talking about Denise is Jeff said, he always has a closing statement. I didn't care for this one. He said, it only takes one move to become a high profile player. Welcome to the club. I'm if I'm Denise, I'm Jeff, you don't need to hype it up more than it's already being hyped up. I'm already going to have a target on my back. No need to, just pile on.
And she
already was a high-profile player.
Yeah.
She went to every single tribal on her season.
Yes.
And survived all of them. She is, going into the season, she was on every Edgic, style viewer's radar. She's not in the your generic fan. I'm watching because I like reality TV. That kind of person's not going to be caring about Denise. But I think all 4 of us acknowledged on draft day that Denise was a first round pick.
100%.
I would say that she was a first round pick in terms of I thought that she would go really far in the game, and if she ended up in the end, she's just likable enough to win. But I don't think that I ever considered her a strategic mastermind or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because I do think in her season, she made, a couple questionable plays. I think she was going to go to the end with Malcolm, and then he kind of messed it up, and that's why she didn't take him. But just kind of things like that. I don't know.
Right.
I thought she was like a pretty like mid-level winner.
Yeah.
It's like maybe part of this move on her end wasn't even strategy. Maybe she really did kind of just want to leave her mark on the season. Like even if she is out next episode or whatever, like in years from now when people think of Winners at War, they're going to remember what she did. And I think maybe that is what she was just going for.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with kind of how a lot of the layers to it that don't make a lot of sense kind of.
Do you think it's possible to add new legends to the show?
Yeah.
Because
And
our community puts so much stock in the old school players that every time a newer school player does something really well, I just see the community tearing them down because they're not as good as Legend A or Legend B. They'll never be a legend.
That's
right.
Like it bothers me. I see so many people complaining about this season because it's all the newbies getting out the old people, and I'm like,
who would do that?
New guys, this is their first, second time, and all these other guys have had like 4 to 5 chances. That's why you know them so well.
When you guys say it like that too, it does change my perspective, because I don't hate this season. I still think it's like top 10, top 5 for me, which is like even crazy to think, because it is a really, at this point, they haven't done much wrong. But when you label it like that, it does help me think of it in that way, because Denise has already won the game, and she's an older person. Not that she's in her 40s, but still, she is someone who is decently new school. She played in the mid-20s, so decently new school, but she's making new school moves, and she's making a name for herself comparable to like what, Parvati did in her second time out, or what Sandra did in her second time out. So it's crazy to see her do these things that other people have done. And I agree too, like what JC saying, we just tear people down, not us, but the general public.
Right.
General like Survivor, like, or Facebook or Reddit people are very against new people making big moves. And even like Nick is always like for example, is the one that comes to my mind. In this season, he's like, oh, he's in Parvati's back pocket. He just voted Parvati out. You know what I mean? Like, he made it happen. He was like, oh yeah, you're so, you're my crush, all that. No, you're gone. So like, they're willing to do that, and they're willing to take these people out. I think that has changed my perspective on the season, which I'm glad.
If you want to talk about big moves, like David versus Goliath was a season of big moves. Like,
insane. Splitting a minority vote.
Council.
Right.
See, it's like this season, I don't think it's fair to be upset when new players take out old players or whatever. But when you compare it to game changers, I think that is a little bit more valid, because some of those game changers, just that title alone is a bit, are they deserving of being a game changer? Like Haley or Sierra.
So, I appreciate Sierra getting a chance to play again. I really wish they would stop playing up the she voted out her mom, which is great TV. It's amazing TV.
I thought you meant
Thomas.
Yeah. I was gonna say I love Sierra to see it, but Sierra Dawn Thomas. Do you probably even remember she was on the season? I don't blame you.
Yeah, who would?
My bad. I'm gonna finish out that thought. Like, I really wish they would focus on some of the other cool things that Sierra Easton did, and not just keep going the she voted out her mom route. Like, yes, we get it. Great. She did more than that.
She instigated Rocked after 23 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That was crazy.
Also, who was it? Somebody. There was a Twitter chain where somebody mentioned that she has the blue check mark next to her name. If the season's appropriate and she wants to come back, she's going to come back, kind of thing, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah. That might have been Johnny Fairplay, actually. I think
he said that. He was like, he said some winners don't even have blue checks next to their names, and Sierra Easton does.
Did you post that in the group chat, or was that on a Facebook group?
I think it was either Facebook or Reddit.
Okay.
It's gone around, which it makes sense. It's a good point. She is a big character, and not because because she voted out her mom, but that's for casual. She made great moves in her, the first 2 seasons, especially, Game Changers, she couldn't get her feet in the ground, obviously, but the first 2 seasons, she was in, and she also had, she was with Abby Maria and with Kelly Wentworth. So it's like she was still a majority went deep into that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I appreciate the plays that we got out of Game Changers. I know that it was not good from a production standpoint for the casual viewers, but we got a good season. Not as good a season as Second Chance, but we got a good season.
Right. They were trying to catch lightning in a bottle. They're like, Second Chance was so good. Let's do it one more time, but call it Game Changers.
If you do it again, just do Second Chances too. I mean,
Second Chances 2 is going to be fun. Again. I'm excited for it.
Oh, funny you should say.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Man, we should
game
do a
changers.
Just talking about second chance potentials.
Oh,
Huh.
Yes, I know you said that in the chat earlier.
No, I know.
No, I was going to ask you what you thought of Tony this episode since we saw the return to the Spy Shack.
The return of the Spy Shack made me happy. It didn't make me happy when it put a target on him, like a purposeful target instead of an accidental advantage getting target like I was already prepared for. But, I mean, it works out in the end. He's fine.
And everyone knew not to talk to the water well, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Was it everyone? Because I think it was Sandra and Sandra.
Definitely Sandra.
She knows.
It was Sandra specifically who didn't want to talk by the well. But, everyone was bringing up how Tony just vanished from camp, and they didn't like that. And I didn't like that they didn't like that.
Whenever production wants to refilm a conversation, they stage it at the water well. Sorry, we're not allowed to talk about production.
But it always is there, so he's probably like, okay, let's sit there.
If you see a scene at the water well, there's a 75% chance production is restaging the scene so they could get a better audio clip or a better visual.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I know that the Spy Shack thing put a target on Tony's back, but in the confessional before that he said, I feel like Kim or Sandra might flip or Denise or Jeremy have an idol, and both of those things ended up being true. Sandra did flip and Denise had an idol, so even though the Spy Shack obviously didn't do what it was supposed to, he did have the right read that something was wrong and that it wasn't going to go his way. So at least he was trying to actively do something to change that, I guess.
Right.
And I think canonically, even if you go back, the Spy Shack has done actually nothing to help out Tony other than just get his entertainment value up. But Patrick, you're rewatching Kageon, right?
Yeah.
How far into it are you? I'm pretty sure there was one conversation the show made it look like maybe Tony did something from a Spy Shack, but I think the reality is
it was an editing thing.
It is. Yeah. It's all editing, and it's the keen eye of us. We watch. I've seen it it's probably my third time watching it. I got my friend to start watching Survivor, so he's watching it, and I'm watching every episode he's on. I'm not really watching every episode that in depth. But when he mentions a good moment, I'm let me go back and watch that. Yeah, no. Every time there's a Spy Shack moment, he's not really getting anything from it. It's almost spliced together. There's funny moments where I forget if it was LJ and who else. I just watched this yesterday. But it was LJ and I want to say one of the other people from Beauty Tribe, maybe
Morgan.
I think it is more. It's someone like that, and they're talking in the middle of an open field. And granted, if you're on the 28th season of Survivor and you're a super fan, a lot of most of the people in Kageon were, you're not thinking of someone's in a bush, literally hiding with branches over their face. So I get that you wouldn't really think that. But he's not really getting any information from it. It's not like he won the game because he had the Spy Shack. The Spy Shack just makes him that character attached to his win, which is already crazy enough that his crazy self got to a final 2, not even a final 3, a final 2, and then won the way he did. It's
without even winning an immunity challenge.
And he had a god idol too, which is crazy.
He did have a really good goat with him, though. He did have a really good goat.
Right.
Nobody wanted to give Wu money.
But he had 2 good goats. He had Wu and Cass, and Cass again was one of my favorites. But he could go to the end with either of them and win.
Oh man. Not to get on the Kageon thread, but I think Cass would have given him a fight at least.
At least 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's a lawyer. She would have definitely, talked her ass off. But
I think Spencer even gives Cass a vote at that point.
0% chance of winning the game.
Poor Spencer. Jeff said Spencer had 0% chance going into the season.
Yeah.
He played that season with a chip on his shoulder, and rewatching it, you can tell.
Second chance or his first chance?
No, his first season, because Jeff said to him, "You're not winning."
Well, Jeff said that in his Cass assessment.
You're right.
That's Spencer. But yeah, I was gonna say Spencer is the same as Adam to me. They're both just intolerable.
I'm afraid. One time Spencer was doing an AMA on Reddit, and I was like, Spencer, what's your advice for getting cast? And he was like, be Spencer. And I was like, cool. How helpful.
I love Spencer. Stop, Luke.
To talk smack about him, because I'm serious. Not that he would ever watch this, but just in the off chance he is, I don't know how it would happen, but if he saw it, I would be afraid. So his
casting video is hilarious. His audition is hilarious.
Yeah, I think watch it. I'm curious what it's like.
I'll send you guys the link.
Yeah.
I really should start watching auditions because my auditions are always terrible, and I really need to actually do a genuine one and not a, oh, hey, I scripted this and it's terrible.
Okay, there's a huge list from like one of the casting producers that like released, like they're unlisted on YouTube, so you can't just search for them. So I can send you that link. But Aubrey Bracco is probably the best one I've ever seen. She's an amazing audition video.
I've got Aubrey saved, and I really need to watch it. Like, I'm 10 seconds into it, and then I never go back and watch it.
It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah,
I know. I'm the worst.
Yeah, I'm curious too. But yeah.
Oh, man. Is there a tribe we haven't talked about pre-challenge yet? Because we've been having fun with this call.
Yeah, we've been jumping around a lot, but what are you guys going to go back to Sele or to call?
See, I don't know the differences between them anymore at this point.
Okay, so
Blue or red?
Sele is Nick and
Red.
Wendell. Is Wendell and Nick and Michelle?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's much else to say about that, but I was just the scene that Wendell and Wendell and Parvy were talking, and Wendell was saying, you know, offered the thing about fire tokens, and will you give me 2 fire tokens before we go to tribal? And Parvy said no. That whole scene was just like so, like they both just wanted to like go at it, and they were both just like holding back, but that was just like really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
And the way, like, oh, I don't know. Sorry. Wendell at tribal again, it just bugged me.
I totally got where Parvy was coming from, where she's like, I'm not going to give you 2 fire tokens before, like, do I look like an idiot? Like, she's Parvati shallow. Like, she knows that you're not going to keep her just because, like, she gives you 2 fire tokens.
So I'm curious, how many? I always forget this number. How many tokens does it take to get an advantage in the challenge? 4 or 3?
9.
It's 9. Wait, never mind. I'm throwing my thought out because I was like,
It
why
could be 4. It could be 4, but
I don't
yeah.
think it's 9.
If it is,
It's
that's
definitely
crazy.
lower than that.
It could be 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 9.
Yeah, I don't think Parvy had enough to do it on her own, but maybe she
never
could have
mind.
offered to do it for the whole tribe. I don't know, like
Yeah,
maybe a
and
couple people pooled theirs together, but I don't know if any, like if you have like an obvious boot that you also don't want them to get to merge, like maybe you don't want to use a fire token for that.
They're like, no thanks, we'll lose.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, fine. I tried.
Also, they had to come up with an advantage for every single challenge they're running in the pre-merge. And I think the advantage is 5 minutes or 3 minutes or it's something like that.
Right.
I'm excited to see the post-merge menu because it's gonna probably change a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll actually see people buying things off the generic individual menu,
Right.
like a challenge advantage.
But yeah, we're down to 19 tokens in the game, so
Oh yeah.
wonder if they're gonna add one back in.
Who has the most at this point? Would it be whoever?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Well, in the game.
Michelle's up to 4, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so
She has 3 plus
Michelle's
1.
4,
She just takes over Parvati's spot basically of having 4.
right?
That's pretty good. And Natalie has a bunch.
Natalie
has
is 3.
4, yeah.
Yeah.
4.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, she has 4 for sure.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Watch none of those advantages actually let Natalie win, though.
I mean,
That's
how
not-
pissed would you
possible.
be if you were the only one to have all 3 advantages and you still lost, and no one else is even probably going to get 2?
Yeah. Maybe 2. That's like probably the most. No, because there's only one more week.
There's really only one more opportunity to get a fire token.
I'll tell you this: I won't be as pissed as if I would be, as if I never got it voted out, but still made it to final 3, and then lost to a person who did get voted out, but came back into the game.
Like Gavin or Julie.
Yeah.
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 Here's my thought too. I was like spitballing this in my head. Since like the first time, it's really too small of a sample size to say that every time there's an Edge of Extinction, we merge at 12 and add one person onto that. But in my thought, there's the pre-season Jeff interview from right before the season came out from RHAP. That's basically like, we want Edge of Extinction to conclude in the finale.
Oh, that's what that's from. Thank you.
I can send you the link. I have it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I was
100%.
talking to somebody. I was talking on Facebook, and I made a comment about the second Edge of Extinction is going to be in the finale. I can't remember where, but Jeff clearly
he
said it.
that, and he said he wants to, when they're getting rid of Edge, that he's like, okay, maybe in the future we'll think of getting rid of our theme concluding in the finale. But in my head, I'm like, why can't they merge at 11 and then add 2 right there, like Lil and Bert? curtain and then just let it play out. Because then we have two Rick Devens, but not necessarily Devens, that come in and can build their game back up. Because Rick got voted out and had two rounds, maybe even one round in between, and then he came back in. Whereas Chris was one of the first people voted out. He was like the third person voted out. He was third. He was the third boot, and he came back with six. He was a 6%.
Yeah.
So if they had two, it was like two. They merge at 11 plus 2, and it goes back to 13. Then we have a whole season, and it kind of makes up for the weird days because I know something's up. Like we're not following the same path. Maybe it's because they're doing like a late merge, but we're on day 16 right now, and there's 12 people left. So at this point, we would be at least day 20, day 23. So I'm curious why they're so ahead. They're basically a week ahead of schedule. I'm wondering what that accounts for.
Maybe we're going to have a day 20 or a day 21 merge.
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So many moving pieces. But yeah, Edge of Extinction had 18 players. They merged at 13 plus 1.
Right.
Winners at War is 20
plus
players,
right.
but they're merging at 11
at least. Right. So what is that time saving? Like why are we doing that?
What did Island of the Idols merge at?
I think 13. I blocked
Island of the Idols had a pretty big...
I feel like all the
think
seasons in recent memory have first 13.
I think Jack was first on the jury, but he didn't make merge.
Yes. I think
Like
it was
literally
13.
like as long as I can remember, it's been 13 for like the past 10 seasons, I think.
Yeah, since like the 30s. The 30s have been consistently 13, except for maybe Worlds Apart. I didn't really watch that one that closely, but I still think that was at least 12 or 13.
What if they never merge?
I'm down.
This would be incredibly stupid, and Survivor should be canceled.
If they never merge, then we're watching the season play out like King of the Nerds format.
Is that what happens? And then one tribe just dissolves?
Kind of. So that show had 10 players a season, I think, 10 or 11 per season, and the merge was always the finale. You play your teams down until there's like 4, maybe 5 people left, and then you have a bunch of like individual like win it or sorry, if you lose it you're out challenges.
Is that better than Palau, or is that worse than Palau? Where you just like have one tribe lose and then you're like, okay, here's Steph, go on this tribe. And then you just watch Tom Westman win because his tribe is full of weak people.
Ian is my first pick for second chance too. Not that he'll ever come back.
He really hates it. He went to my sister's college.
Oh wow.
If he did get offered to come back, he'd probably just offer to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, he's like,
I love Ian so much. I do.
I can't. He's like, maybe Katie should come back.
Yeah.
That'd be a great idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's have Katie go on.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if it's because I've already thought this in my head to death, but I'm just like, I feel like I'm too hurt to talk about Parvati and Sandra getting voted out. But let's think here. Let's pause for a second.
Pause.
Who do we think, and discounting, because I have no one left in my pool. I just have Nick. Nick could make it, but we don't know. Who do you guys, separate from your people, think is going to win this season? We have like a good amount of educ. Who's like an educated guess you would put out there?
Mine would be Yul.
Yul?
Sophie.
I don't think it's Yul based on Edgic.
Natalie.
What's Edgic?
I don't want to say any edge person.
Edgic is edit plus logic, and it's like this thing that people do where they like watch how people are edited, plus like all these different monikers, so like under the radar, over the top.
So basically, my biggest thing for Yul is that his tribe went to tribal council this episode, and he didn't have a single confessional. Like, that's pretty rare for a winner.
I think, and here's, I said this in our group chat earlier, so let me just rehash it. I don't like Yul this season, but I like him as a person. I like Cook Islands, and I really would want him to win because he's said he's going to donate, if not all, a huge chunk of his money to ALS research.
Right.
That's big. He's already, and here's why I feel okay him getting voted out next week, and I think he's going home next week. My point being, he's already raised $200,000 for ALS in the past, 2 weeks. That's and he's matching it too. So that's insane.
Yeah, he's matching up to 500,000, I think.
Yeah, so that's right there. That's $1 million for ALS research. He's already done what a normal Survivor season would be, or probably what he'd even donate for ALS if he won. And I feel like his storyline was to get. I don't know what his edit storyline is. Maybe he will make it a little further, and I'll see what it is. But I don't know. Maybe he'll be the merge boot, something like that. But I agree with Luke. I don't see a winner's edit from him.
Really?
I see. Yeah, my number one would probably be Tony, and I would put Sophie as 2.
Sophie has
You
a good
pick
edit.
Tony?
I think
Really?
Tony and Sophie. I think Michelle's edit is like too good. Like she's getting too like shoved down our throats. I think
What
Sarah
do you guys
is not
look
bad.
for? What do you guys look for when?
So like when I said earlier that like Tony was right about Kim and Sandra might flip or Denise and Jeremy have an idol, like that was purposely included because that was accurate. Like he had the correct read on a situation. So usually like when somebody in confessional says something and then immediately the edit disproves it, then that's like bad for your edit.
Yeah, because it says that you're not smart enough because you're not the one that's getting everything right.
And it's like consistently edited and also like showing that this person is accurate in their reads.
Yeah.
So Wendell is getting a really negative edit. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
sorry. You can keep going.
No, it's a good question.
Wendell's getting a really negative edit from an Edgic standpoint. Probst is smack talking him is a really big indicator that someone is not going to win. Adam is getting this arrogant, like he's being set up for a fall edit, and we got that with his semi-blindside vote where he didn't go home, but like where Ethan was sent to Edge.
Right.
And so he got that fall, but then immediately turns around and they're still showing him doing these little things that are arrogant. Yeah. So it's setting him up for a second fall,
which isn't good.
Which is not good for his edit.
Yeah.
But I will say he was even arrogant in Millennials versus Gen X, and I feel like it was shown then, and he still won. But I do think it's way more piled on this season.
Yeah. Because he learned from his mistakes. He was a first-time player, and he was arrogant because he's played on online reality games, and he's a Survivor super-duper fan, whatever he called himself. But then that's what he learned. Listen, I do all the same things as him, but I would never, ever come out and be like, listen, guys.
I am a Survivor super-duper fan. I know the game better than anyone alive.
Also, why is he wearing fuzzy boxers on a beach? I don't want to see. Listen. Yeah, bro, look at the texture of his boxers. They look so uncomfortable. I literally cringed.
Everybody was given really weird underwear this season.
It's weird. But
Tyson definitely picked his.
Yeah, so did Ben. Yeah, well, his is flamingos. I would listen at this point. I would die for Tyson. But
Can I see what I look for in a winner's edit then, real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So the way I always look at it is kind of like if they're a part of the episode, even though if they don't have an impact, like they kind of have like a weird small cutaway that almost has no impact on the actual storyline, but it's kind of more just like this is what this person is doing, even though they aren't actually like doing anything real.
Yeah. That is exactly what Michelle's edit was in Crow Wrong, is she had nothing to do with any of the strategy, yet she was shown all the time.
Yeah, and like so, like when I think about it, like going back in the earlier episodes, at least, like the whole Tony's ladder segment actually began with Yul kind of trying to get stuff out of a tree, which then kind of led into Kim having a connection with Yul, because like Yul gave her like a coconut or something, and then that kind of led into Tony's ladder. But then the part of it, a different episode when Yul was kind of saying, like when Tyson was going around the beach trying to get Sandra thrown under the bus, and Yul kind of just appeared out of nowhere saying he didn't like that, so he wanted Tyson out anyways. And then it didn't end up like having to become a thing until like 2 episodes later. So it's like the biggest example for me when I like find like the winner's edit scene is it goes back to Wendell on Ghost Island, when for some reason Wendell made his tribe sing happy birthday to his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Like it's those kind of scenes that for me are and I think Wendell's got the most of those so far. And then they also do have to have some kind of story attached to them, and I think Yul and the ALS thing from last week was his story getting attached to him.
Yeah, but I think they would have shown that no matter what. Like, I think that's something that, like, Survivor just decided, like, CBS decided to support. But personal content is definitely a factor.
Yeah, it's big.
And that's part of the trick, too, because a lot of that stuff could just be, like, for entertainment value, even though it has no impact on the episode. And then so that can really kind of shake it up. But yeah. So I don't know. I'm going with Yul for now.
We are also getting more of an Australian edit than any other American season has ever done, and the Australian edit doesn't work with classic Edgic. You'll have winners who just completely disappear from the show for for a string of episodes at a time, and then come back when they're important again.
Moana,
I think that's always been the case. Well, yeah, I think in this season, I don't necessarily think it's more Australian than any other season has been. I think that everyone's getting mostly consistently edited, but I think in every U.S. American season, you have people that are kind of just consistently not that important. Like Nick is someone that has not been shown that much.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Honestly, like Denise up until this point hadn't been super involved and stuff. So
I would guess like
Nick, the edit is pretty even in my opinion.
Very even. I would say Nick I've seen consistent with like a third place no vote finalist, and I like Nick. I seriously think Nick has a lot in the tank. He's also someone that's played online reality games and watches a lot of like The Genius and The Mole and stuff like that. So he brings in strategy from other reality games. He watches The Challenge too. So even still saying that, I feel like his edit is consistent with third place finalists, just in the sense that like maybe not even no vote, but like he wasn't there for the first 3 or so episodes, and now he's here, and we are getting good content from him. But at the same time, I feel like Dean's very similar to that. I don't want to say Angelina because Angelina was never invisible, and they are two different sides. They're two different coins completely. Not even two sides to the same coin. But like Angelina was only seen in the first episode saying like, only 20% of women have found idols. And granted, no women found idols the whole season. But why else would they say that except she's sitting in the final 3? So it's not personal content, but it's still content that you're like, oh, there's something I can point back to a year and a half later.
Like Nick saying in the first episode, like, oh, fire tokens are really important. I think they're going to like be really important to who's going to win the season. Something like that.
It's not
specifically even to Nick,
I think that is more just Survivor trying to jack themselves off.
Me too.
Well, yes, but
I actually don't think that Nick is getting to the end.
All 20 players had to have recorded a line like that, and they chose to use his.
Yeah.
Like, okay, 19 of the players had to have used that line, and then Amber is sitting there.
Amber's like, what the fuck's an idol?
I'm kidding. Please don't come Godfather me, Rob. I wasn't insulting your wife.
Everyone tag Rob in the comments.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
By the way,
go to 1 hour and 3 minutes.
I would like to point out though that now Sandra and Rob are both out of the game without being on a tribe together.
Okay, you were right about that. Yeah, you were right about that.
That was a good call.
I was sad, honestly. I wanted Sandra to vote his ass out.
I would have taken Sandra voting Rob out and then getting voted out right after. That would have been fun.
Yeah, well, she would have been like, I'll go now. All I want to do is vote out Rob.
I don't even need 2 more million.
I'm not caught up on Australian, so this is not a spoiler. This is just me making a joke. But it's almost like David being like, yeah, I voted out everybody from my season. Cool, I'm done. Here, take both my idols.
How far are you? Like, what's going on right now?
Final 8. I'm at final 8.
So you just saw Zach vote out.
Yes.
Oh. So you have you're a week behind. 1 week behind.
So you just saw one of the only episodes.
And we're going to finish it tonight when my roommate gets back.
Okay, so we'll wait.
So
who do you think's going to win?
Yeah. Who I think's going to win?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man. I don't because I picked AK. I remember I picked AK because I knew nothing about him at all.
Okay.
And then he keeps losing and losing and losing. He's doing so terribly at everything. So
I'm trying to keep a poker face.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm feeling James Clement vibes going on here. We'll see tonight.
Oh, who do you think is going to win now?
I don't know. Moana's got a really good edit, but that also could be a misdirect. Australia does such a good job with their edit. I have no idea.
No, I hate their edit. I hate it. It ruins every single season. 2017 was great, but every other season the edit has ruined it for me.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about a TV edit and a DVD edit for Survivor? You've got the edit for when you're watching the show and you're watching it fresh and going through, and then you have a second edit where they change what scenes are important for okay, the outcome. Here we're actually putting a movie together.
No, because I want the same experience.
Okay.
I mean, that would be cool to see separately.
I would have additional scenes.
I don't know, Luke.
YouTube, low-key.
I kind of.
I like not being able to.
Did you disagree with me on the
see
edit?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Noah.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke. I love Australian Survivor right now, and I don't know. gosh, I can't spoil anything with JC, but
I'm sorry.
I feel like you're not missing anything. The next 3 episodes are like.
The storyline with Sharn, I think, was so perfectly set up so that like the climax, I was literally watching through like my hands because I was so terrified
Sharn
of what I was afraid was going to happen.
Sharn is fascinating to me. She was fascinating to me in her first season, and she's fascinating to me this season. I think that she is one of the most like complex players that I've seen in any iteration of Survivor.
Who did Sharn lose to her first time?
Shane. And she should not have lost to Shane.
That's kind of, yeah.
I mean, I thought that Sharn had it in the bag when she went to final 2 with Shane. Because Sharn won the final 3 immunity in her season, and she got to pick either Shane or this guy who was a complete villain that she would have beaten. But I think, like, at the time, I was saying, it doesn't matter who Sharn takes. She can beat anybody. Like, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
I miss Brian. Brian should have came back for
All I love Brian. That is a guy who embraced the villain edit.
You got to. If you're already
getting so many players I'd love to.
And the way he lost that immunity challenge, I think is complete bullcrap.
So, question: are we thinking second chance for American and Australian then?
I don't know what a brain steal simulation is supposed to mean, so you're gonna have to explain that to me.
It's just it's a program. It's a website that you plug photos in, and you can type in like, I want this many swaps, and I want this many advantages, and you can have a computer simulate some, all, or none of a season. You can put some content in yourself, and it's just kind of like plays out a season that you then get to commentate on as the computer plays out the season.
It's fun.
It'll just give you like a range of information, like, oh, these 2 people have aligned. These 2 people like had an altercation over rice, or like, you know, just silly things like that.
This person found an idol. That's where you're like, oh, they fought because of this.
Does it have to be like Survivor people?
No. You can plug in whatever you want yourself, and they do Survivor, Big Brother, Total Drama. I think they've got an Amazing Race one.
Oh, like the cartoon.
They've done like icons.
Okay. So you missed last week when Luke and I had our live game discussion. He's played a bunch of Survivor live games. The one live game I've gotten to play was Total Drama Magfest.
I'm dead.
And the short story is I lost on a literally random draw challenge, and I'm pissed about it still. I placed 6th out of 21, and the challenge was here's a D6, here's a die, roll it. The first player to roll 3 ones is out.
Oh my god.
It hurt.
I would be so mad if I put that much energy into something. That's like Ben getting like the fire challenge.
I was reasonably intoxicated for the whole panel, so it was fun. It was a good time.
Well, that makes it better though.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna do a brand steal eventually. Great. I'm glad we all confirmed it.
I really could talk all night about Australian All-Star right now, though. Like that's been my life this week.
We can stop recording and talk about it.
Let's finish. Okay, let's finish because we didn't cover the challenge, and I don't have that much to say this week. I'm going to be dropping the ball, kind of like DeCall. Oh man, no. Going into the challenge, I picked DeCall to win that challenge, and they just didn't score a point out of the 3 points. And
yeah,
damn. Do you all have anything to say about this week's challenge?
I didn't like. I watched it twice. I watched the episode twice, and I found myself ignoring it both times. Listen. You have given me a new light on looking on challenges, so I do understand them a little more, and I do understand the appeal. But this week, I couldn't pay it. I just didn't care. I guess because it's a double boot, they really wanted to make it a fast and quick edit. So like, they didn't really put that much stock into it edit-wise. But have they done this challenge before? They've all been done before, right?
This challenge was from Redemption Island. The first half of the challenge is actually a relatively recent one. It's from the last 2 years, so the last 4, maybe 5 seasons.
Mix and max.
But the back half, the table maze, is from Redemption Island, Cochrane versus Ozzy, that duel.
Oh.
So it's not Redemption Island, it's from South Pacific. And it's the one where Cochrane learned how to use a grappling hook. Ozzy had a massive lead, and Cochrane actually almost caught up and beat him, but like they lost at like the end of the maze for the third. which is on my top 5 challenge list. So I was super excited, and then I'm really happy that that Yara won. I enjoyed watching them do the table maze, but the other important thing we get out of this is leading back to the Wendell edit. We get him throwing the immunity idol, or not tossing it, and then we get him saying "watch this" and then messing up. So 2 strikes against Wendell in one scene.
Yeah.
Preview for next week's challenges for anyone who's curious. The first one, I think this one is reward. I might have them backwards because they both could be immunity challenge. But the first one is they have a pavilion with mesh above them where there's sandbags, and they have the poles, and you have to push the sandbags up off the pavilion and like push it into the rope and push it down. And then you use those sandbags in slingshots to knock over targets. I think that's the reward challenge. And in the pictures, you see all 12 players. So this is definitely pre-vote. And then the other challenge is, you remember, and this is also a really recent one, giant water bins. Like they're plates that are like 7 feet across.
Oh, right. Nick lost this challenge with Jabeni.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
like
you have to fill it with water, and then bring it over to a water station and fill the water station.
Yes.
Which will then drop some puzzle pieces, and it's not giving a good picture of what the puzzle is, but you can see the puzzle pieces in one of the photos. So it's some kind of block puzzle. I'd say block puzzle, but like the pieces are similar to the tree puzzle that we had a couple weeks ago.
Okay, but
they
they're
look
not showing
similar to that.
But like some people are missing though, right? Like it's not showing all 12.
It's showing all 12.
Oh, that one is too?
It is also yes.
Okay.
Is also showing all 12. So one of those is going to be reward, and one's going to be immunity.
That's kind of cool though. I guess.
I'm still skeptical because why would they do a reward challenge when they have 3 tribes plus Edge of Extinction? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, they haven't been doing reward challenges all season.
Oh, you know what I'd love to see, but they'll never do, and it's also a little too Big Brothery, and I don't want them to do it on Survivor, but it'd be really cool.
What?
2 immunity challenges. If you win both, you get to pick which team you give the second immunity to.
Oh.
That'd be cool.
That's not like awful.
It's not awful.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
think that's what they're doing.
No, I don't think that's what they're doing either. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out what they're going to do, and I don't know.
Maybe it's just
What if
reward
it's
and
like
immunity.
2 immunity challenges, but the one who wins the first challenge doesn't compete in the second one.
Well, we've got photos of all 12 competing in both.
Is it the Outcast twist?
What if the first person versus the next person voted out is when it comes back from Edge, and so they're just
and they just didn't leave. They
That
just
would
didn't.
be a big spoiler.
Yeah.
Wait, that is a good
But you
point.
don't know it's a spoiler.
I did just post the link to the press photos in the chat, so if you want to take a look at what the challenges are.
Interesting.
That's weird. Yeah, that all of a sudden they're doing reward challenges.
But yeah, that's another reason why I'd be absolutely terrible for playing Survivors, because I love the challenges way too much, and they really are only like 5% of importance to the game. They're so low impact on the game. Yes, they can save you in a clinch situation, but then you're gone the next week. Like, you need to. It is not a high aspect to the game, and if you're wasting energy on them that you could be spending socializing or otherwise,
Right. It's different. They're showing the Edge here separately too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
You're just like David's kids. Yeah.
David's kids.
Yeah, he wears the flower in his hair for his kids because his kids.
Oh, Australian.
I forgot about that. It's like David's kids. What are we talking
David
about?
Wright?
David versus Goliath?
No, yeah, sorry, he said that, and I immediately thought.
Yeah,
JC.
he did. I was surprised after he won an immunity challenge one time. He like pointed to God. I'm like, David, do you believe in God? Like this? I don't know. He doesn't strike me as that kind of person.
He's from Brooklyn.
Like-
He has a brewery.
I don't know.
But yeah, we see Parv interacting with Tyson. We see her interacting with Ethan, and I think that's Rob. Yeah, that's Rob.
Yeah.
We don't see Sandra in any of the photos, except for maybe there's a Rob photo. There's a Rob photo on page 3 that has like a red shoulder in it. That might be Sandra. Maybe.
It's really crazy when you think about Edge, and like Natalie is like the only new schooler there, right? I mean, everyone else is old school.
Yeah, that's a good point. No one's even really played past. I mean, I guess Tyson's the latest one, but he played before Natalie even his latest time.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that like there's Yule is the only player left in the game that didn't play like pre-Heroes Villains, or that did play pre-Heroes Villains.
Right.
Everyone else came after, like Sophie basically onwards.
Okay, so now that you guys pitch it like that, okay, that even affirms it more for me because it's true. Like if Yule gets voted out next or something, which I don't know why I foresee, but if that happens,
it's not an old school versus new school thing.
Yeah.
It's just that the old school players have played 2 or 3 times each, except for Yule.
Yeah.
Okay, not Danny, but Danny wasn't contributing, and she didn't actually have that strong of an alliance.
She's the reason the old schoolers got picked off.
Danny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once
really?
she
got the ball rolling.
But
no, because Amber was first.
Well, I know, but Danny was the one that like self-sabotaged the old school alliance on her tribe.
I had such high hopes.
I think I had Danny.
Yeah, I do think that like
had Danny.
I do think like the most recent winners do want to stick together. Like I just got the sense from the episode that Michelle was very close to Nick also. Like I don't know, it just seemed like they had a thing going. Like I think that Nick, Wendell, and Michelle are more of a 3 than Yule is with those guys almost. Like I just got that sense that she is like locked in with those guys.
If I can, I don't want to toot my own horn, but before the season started, I don't know if I told you guys about this, but I did like a fake, like in my head and typing it out on Google Docs, which I can send to you guys. I want to show you and just like, this is kind of what I've been going off of. And I like broke down the tribes. I did a swap based on like 16 or 15 to 3 tribes. And I got this tribe right. Like, I got that they'd swap to Parvati, Nick, Wendell, Yule. Who's the last person?
That's crazy.
But wow. I don't know how the hell
Michelle is the last person.
Michelle. But here was my justification for it. If I follow a lot of them on my second Instagram, like the Finsta, whatever. I'm a Gen Z, whatever. But so I follow them and I only follow like maybe like 20, 30 survivors only. But in following them, Nick, Wendell, I've mentioned this a couple times. Nick, Wendell, Michelle, and Parvati comment on all of their shit. Everyone's stuff that they post, they all comment on.
Yeah.
So in my head, I was like, I can't avoid it. So
yeah, Nick and Michelle are BFFs on social media. Like they are like this.
Yes, and Wendell and Nick are, and I didn't even put it together in my head. Wendell and Michelle don't really comment on each other's stuff, but Nick and Wendell comment, Nick and Wendell comment, and Nick and Michelle comment. Parvati comments on Wendell's stuff, which is probably a swerve if people are like watching. She's like, I know these crazy Redditors are watching, so we gotta do that. So in my head, I was like, okay, who else makes sense? And I was like, well, maybe it's like a swap screw, and Yule goes on that tribe and gets voted out. But it was the other way around. It was a swap screw for Parvati, which makes sense. I didn't think that she'd make it much farther than this, but still, I don't know. That was the only one I got right. The other ones were like, I still had Amber at this point. I still had Danny and pretty deep in the game. But this is the one thing I was like, damn. It just made sense. So I don't know how far. I like, it's also another thing for edit, too. Like, Nick mentioned that Wendell mentioned a final 2 to Nick, but we didn't get to see Wendell saying that there's going to be a final 2, only seeing that Nick was saying that. And he specifically said final 2, so I wonder if that's what they're thinking. He didn't say like final 2 or 3 or whatever. He said final 2. So
I think it's just like 2 people making a deal together. You just say final 2. It's not like, oh, let's go to like top 3 together. I think that's just like more of a wording thing.
It's too broad, yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot.
It also final 2 implies that you're not going to send them to fire.
Right. I'll take you with me. Yeah. True.
It's like you're my number 1.
Right. So I don't know. Do you guys want to phase into power rankings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. All right. You want to do Green Tribe first?
That one's
yeah. It's probably the easiest.
Yeah.
If I was reading the chat correctly, did all 3 of you put Sarah first? I think I'm the only one who had Sophie first.
I might have.
Me and Pat both went Sarah,
Yeah.
Sophie, Ben, Adam.
We had the same one. That was so funny.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Sophie, Sarah, Ben, Adam.
Damn. Okay. We had it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
I
I
know
don't think
that-
there's much discussion on that tribe.
Yeah.
Kind of 4-person 2-2 split on all the tribes now can kind of shake things up, but
And I gave Sophie more credit than Sarah because she did more in the challenge, and
Yeah.
that's part of this episode.
Yeah.
They're on even footing.
Right.
Yeah. Sarah would have been higher if they hadn't won the challenge because the advantage would have been more important than the challenge. But since they won,
Right.
Okay, now that we're talking about edit for so long, now I have just convinced myself that Adam is a losing finalist. Why are we getting so much Adam content? And like even after they lost the challenge, he got this like throwaway confession where it's like, the great thing about winning a double challenge like this is we go from 14 to 12, and it's like winning 2 challenges in a row. I'm like, why did they have him say that? Like everybody knows that you're going from 14 to 12. I
Somebody
think
had to
he's
say
the
it.
losing finalist, guys. I'm calling my shot right now.
I do feel like that is something the editors needed to put in, and like maybe a bunch of people said it, they just decided Adam was the
But
most
they give
entertaining.
Adam so many freaking confessionals already.
so what I'm
know.
hearing is
Yeah.
Yul wins over Adam and Nick.
No, I don't think that's not me. I'm not saying
I would
that.
say now that I'm hearing, I want to say Yul beats Tyson and Adam because Tyson has a
comes
really
back in.
good edit for someone who got voted out.
he does.
Maybe the peanut
I
butter.
don't. Yule is not making it to the end. I'm in my opinion.
Yul's going home next week. I'm
He's either
calling.
going home next week or winning the game. One of the two. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm telling you, he's
I
one
think
of those
his
people.
tribe would vote out Wendell before Yule. I do.
I'm trying to put it
I think Wendell's the most. I don't know.
maybe they won't.
Let's talk about Sully's power rankings real quick
Yeah,
then.
we have to. There's
Yes.
too much
It's
uncertainty.
okay. It's
Because
like
me and Power are the same on Sully.
We are.
I'd still put Michelle on the bottom. Sully's blue, right? This is
Yeah.
Yule and Wendell. Okay, yeah, I'd still put Michelle on the bottom, but I think Wendell is still the most likely to go home out of all of them.
So you put Wendell fourth out of that one.
Yeah, out of yeah. Or
Michelle pretty much outright said she was voting Wendell just to get Parv's tokens, not because she wanted Wendell gone.
And she had a confessional saying,
out of Yule and Ada, or out of Yule and Nick and Wendell, I feel like Wendell's on the bottom of those three. And I think kind of dude, if I was Wendell or if I was Nick and Yule, that whole Parvati Wendell situation would have sketched the hell out of me. And I would almost want him gone as soon as possible at that point.
Yeah.
But I still think Michelle's on the bottom just
I get
because
the sense that the tightest pair on the tribe. Yeah. I think Nick and Wendell are super tight. And
Me
Michelle
too.
had a confessional where she said, Wendell just wants me to like be loyal to him all the way to the end, or something to that effect, where it's like she knows that Wendell wants to use her as like a pawn to like sit next to him. So I feel like she knows that he's loyal to her, at least for now. So I think that like that's why I think he's in a good spot. I think Nick said they have a final two. Michelle is acting like Wendell wants to go to the end with her. And that's why I put you at the bottom. First of all, we didn't get any content. So we don't even know where his head is at. But it just seems like the other three have like this new school thing going.
Yeah. I had very much the same, and I was just toying with the idea of Yule winning. I don't really think he has much potential, I guess from an edit sense, but also just in the sense that I put him as fourth this week. I had the same thing as Luke for this tribe too, but I just see Yule as someone who clearly doesn't have power. He's just voting with what's going on in this tribe. Maybe he's just trying to skate by so he can reconvene with Sophie. That's definitely possible. But as of right now, if there's someone that was going to go home, I agree. I think Nick, Wendell, and Michelle would gang up on Yule. I don't even think it'd have to be an advantage getting type thing or someone have to use an idol. I think it would just happen. And it's not to say that he won't have power later in the game, because him and Sophie had a pretty good stronghold on their tribe for weeks. We kept putting them as 1 and 2, 2 and 1, same thing, but it looks like it's flipped, and hopefully if you're a Yule fan, it'll turn around. But for me, I could see him going home next week.
That's why I don't think he's going home next week, because I think we have to pick up like the Yule and Sophie storyline. I think we're going to get them reuniting. I think that tribe is going to be safe.
Right. I agree. I would say he would go home next week if they go to tribal council, which I could see happening. But I agree that I would see him as more of a merge boot too, just because there is that loose bow. unless he comes back from Edge or something. But that's way too heady for the Edgic.
I actually think that they're safe because the preview is showing Wendell says something about if you keep me on too tight a leash about Michelle. So they're proposing this fight between Wendell and Michelle, and it feels too forced, especially with all the pet names that Michelle keeps calling Wendell, like Wen and Babe, and like they are a lot closer than the edit is showing us.
Yeah,
right.
So they're building up this conflict that's not gonna happen. It's a misdirect by the. I think it's a misdirect by the preview. And the other team I think is going to be safe is going to probably be Yara because they're really good at puzzles.
Sorry, this is just a funny little thing that I saw in the preview also. Michelle says to Wendell, I know what you were doing last night. I'm like, I bet she said that to him before. Anyways.
Alternate episode title?
I really want to know what the context of how the relationship ended is. I feel like it's pretty bad and not very... I don't think like if we knew the truth, Wendell would.
There's a rumor.
I want to know for the sake of being able to do commentary on the season, but I don't want to know because they are real people too, and I don't want to pry into their lives.
Okay, yeah, but also Pat, tell us the rumor that you heard.
Yes. The rumor. Okay, this is. I don't know because the thing you would think I like read some sort of spoiler. Don't at all. Maybe it's because I listen to a lot of RHAP, like literally every single hour of it. Before the season, it was that. Everyone was like, every time Wendell and Michelle came up in the same conversation, Rob Cesternino would like stop it. He'd be like, oh, haha, and move on from it. And so, okay, before the season, I knew when this preview came on, it's Wendell and Michelle. That's how everyone knows. The rumor is that he cheated on her, or at least like wasn't considering them a real relationship. And I agree with JC. Like they're real people, so it's like they are reality TV shows. They're reality TV stars, but it's at the same time like. Survivor just seems so like lofty that I don't want to talk smack about either of them because I also feel like our community is so close in that sense that like it's something that like I feel like I'm talking to them directly. But that's just what I read on a couple different forums that like it was cheating and it wasn't like maybe not even cheating, but maybe they just didn't define the relationship enough. But think about it, the fact that I know this, it's gone too far. Like why do I know their interworkings of their relationship?
Well, because it's a storyline on the show.
Right.
Like I mean,
it is a storyline
like,
on the show.
Last week it was a huge, or whatever, 2 weeks ago it was a huge deal. The whole kicking it thing. Yeah, I mean that was like half the episode was like, Michelle giving us sass and confessional.
It matters in context of like kind of what their connection is and what their gameplay moving forward could or would be. True. But I don't know. The vibes I'm getting, my guess would have been what Patrick said, basically.
Yeah, cheating. Because it makes sense outside of the context of it. And I think that's how it first came up last week. People were like, oh, they might have cheated. But this week it was almost like Wendell cheated on Michelle. Like that's what the consensus was. So maybe it blew out of proportion.
I like
and I think it could be... Oh, go ahead.
No, all you.
I was just gonna say, based on it could have been like a semantics thing where it's like, oh, it wasn't cheating because we weren't in a relationship, and that's why we're getting so much of this. Like, oh, we were just kicking it. No, we weren't, and I was always giving, you're always taking. Like, it does seem, and it could have just been maybe it wasn't even like a physical. We don't know exactly what happened, but it could have just been like he was being more liberal with a relationship than she was.
Right. That's what it seems like. He was kicking it, but to her they were boyfriend girlfriend.
And that's not necessarily that doesn't 100% make Wendell the bad guy because it was ultimately just like a communication breakdown. Yeah. And I do feel bad for Wendell on Twitter. He's getting a lot of hate, and it's like I personally is not my cup of tea, but I don't think that he should be getting slandered for what we're being shown in an hour of edited television.
It's ridiculous.
Maybe that's why he's just in such a bad mood nowadays. Like on the show, it's just,
he knows it's gonna happen.
It feels like Michelle's like going out there telling the cameras exactly what happened and painting him in a bad light. And maybe he's thinking that's what's happening, and that's just pissing him off.
Shouldn't have given her the ammo to do it. Anyway, do we want to talk about the call?
The call. This is where we actually differed, me and Luke at least.
This was hard to rank.
It was.
I think this is the trickiest one.
Yeah, I'll just run it down. I put Denise, Jeremy, Kim, and Tony. I just think if they went to Tribal again, there'd somehow be a Tony boot. Jeremy does have an advantage. That's why I ranked him over Kim, though I think Kim has really situated herself here. She was
Kim is an idol.
Kim as an idol, which is big too. I only put her as 3, because I don't think she's going home, but I don't think she's necessarily gonna be the one that's gonna call the shot. And I put Denise as 1 just because coming out of this week, I don't see DeCall going to Tribal Council. They do have Denise is also great at challenges, but they have Jeremy who's really good at them. Tony, who didn't win an individual challenge, but he's big. He's of course a brawn, so that's one thing. And Kim, who's also he's a bad swimmer, but I feel like going into it, they're going to win the challenge. So I just put Denise as 1 because she has the power going forward of strategy. Hopefully, Jeremy wants to work with her, but again, he did vote for her. But I just left it for that one as as if the clock stopped at midnight after Tribal Council going forward.
So I put Jeremy as 2nd to Denise, and I actually made the note, hey, let me. I'm going to talk about this on Sunday. Yeah. The thing I really wanted to bring up about Jeremy is I talked about this earlier. He said that he was going to be voting with them, and she was okay with that, and she was like, yeah, no, dude, that's good. You're playing your game. I'm going to be using an idol anyway. Like, right. Go for it. Yeah, vote with them. Is a conversation I could absolutely imagine happening off screen. Not that we're privy to it. I have not seen any of the secret scenes this week. The only one I know about is Rob getting to Rob and Amber reuniting.
Yes, that's the major one.
Yeah, I watched the secret scenes this week, and we didn't get any additional information on that.
Okay,
right.
If you wanted the additional information, you need to watch the inside the episode with Sandra. I would say that was the most insightful thing that I saw.
Yes, I very much enjoyed that. I need to watch inside the episode with Parv though. I've only seen
Parvati's is good too.
Okay.
Yeah. I pretty much have Denise, Jeremy, Kim, Tony too, but I don't know. I'm not as confident on that one as some of the other tribes, just because of I have to see how Denise reacts to Jeremy writing her name down first, and kind of go from there. But
yeah, I put Jeremy, Kim, Denise, Tony, and I put Denise in 3rd, which I feel like is a little bit of a slam on her. But it's partly just because I don't really agree with the move. I feel like I said earlier, she lost an ally and an idol. So I feel like Jeremy is in the best position because him and Tony have a tight bond, and now him and Denise have a tight bond, I think. So I think that just gives him the most relationships on the tribe. I put Kim 2nd because I think Denise really wants to work with Kim. We saw them bond, and so I think that's something that's going to be picked up next episode is a Denise and Kim storyline movie. And she has an idol, so I think that if she felt in danger, she would use it. And I trust Kim's intuition. I put Denise 3rd because basically I just think Tony is probably the most screwed. Because Denise saved Jeremy, I do think he might feel like, okay, like I owe Denise, like I'm with Denise 100%, and he might be willing to drop Tony for Denise's sake if she says it's Tony.
And I'm not even sure how close Jeremy and Tony really are too, because Jeremy didn't seem to or Tony was sketching him out at least in the episode. It seemed like.
We really just saw Sandra say, that they were close based off of the police and firefighter thing, but we really didn't see any of that.
If he wants to protect Tony and wants to get rid of Kim for some reason, Jeremy, he could just use his advantage on Tony, and him and Denise could vote Kim. But I think that is contingent on a lot of things going right, and Kim and Denise not being close, which I don't necessarily know. Because,
I don't think you can use this advantage on somebody else.
Oh, really? That changes it for me then.
Yeah, it's not like in Australian. It was worded that you can. I don't know. We'll see when it gets played.
You guys are probably right.
I'll have to look at the wording. But I remember when I read it, when I screenshotted it originally, the way it was worded made it sound like this is not a transferable type thing.
Oh, that makes sense then. Never mind. That would be OP because you can just save someone from the other alliance if you're down to 2 people on the other alliance. You just move them away, keep a goat, and then vote out the actual target. So that makes sense.
It's funny that this episode was called "Quick on the Draw," something like "Quick on the Draw," and it was a confessional of Jeremy saying, "Oh yeah, I have the safety without power, but my only problem is I'm quick on the draw. I might use it," and then he didn't use it, and it was obviously it was the episode title was in reference to Denise, but it was just kind of a funny misdirect.
Right.
Speaking of title misdirects, next episode is titled "We're in the Majors." And that was the only information. That was the only information I had on until midway through Friday. when they did release the press photos. And so I was online just being like, yeah, it's Merge. The title is We're in the Majors. Like,
Right.
This is Merge. They're doing a misdirect by not showing us the Drop Your Buffs, by not showing us the Edge Challenge. And then those photos came out, and I'm like, nope, it's not Merge.
They got something up their sleeve, though.
Right. What if, like, it is Merge, but, like, it's a twist on it somehow? I don't know.
And then,
the
other thing I really wanted to say.
But they can only vote out, like, the losing tribe. I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Like something like Australian's most recent thing, like
Ew.
It looks like God, no.
you can only vote for one of the 4 people on the losing tribe, but you're all merged.
So for
long as
anybody
Zach
at home, for anybody at home, I really want to say, like, don't go beating on Sandra for making a misplay. Sandra did a fantastic play that didn't work. She made a good play. Denise made a better play.
Yes.
Like, giving somebody an idol that can only be used one time and trying to build those social bonds is not it's not a bad play. It
Right.
didn't work. Not a bad play.
Right.
If you guys disagree, feel free to say you disagree. But
Those are two good moves. Denise just went up there.
I think a better move at this point is to not give her the idol, vote with her or whatever, and then give her the idol that is useless in the next episode.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah.
Wait 1 week
like,
to do that.
Like, if Sandra had the idol still and Denise played hers, 100% Sandra plays hers for herself.
Yes.
Right?
And then she wouldn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But in the breaking down the episode, Sandra did express how shocked she was about the second idol.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they all looked shocked at Tribal Council. Like, I personally don't think Jeremy knew that Denise had an idol.
Oh yeah, not a chance.
He was shocked. His eyes were bugging out of his head. He realized after. He was like, damn.
I
Here to play.
honestly almost feel like it was even stupider for Jeremy not to use his advantage during Tribal than Sandra giving Denise the idol, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
especially because Jeremy's expires soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
when
this
does
is
that
like
expire again?
It expires at Final 10.
10,
Oh.
yeah. Like, I would not have had the same balls Jeremy had.
No. 100% no.
I think he uses it.
Put on the
I
draw.
think he uses it this week. I'm getting vibes DeCall loses, and he uses it this week.
And then
I would love for this 4 to stay together. This 4, I think this is like, I mean, if this 4 was like loyal to each other, like
Big.
I believe that those 4 could run the game because they are like a diverse but like powerful group of
And that's
people.
a
I mean, I
big
love those.
4.
But why would they, once they get back with their old allies, why would they?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm
Take
not saying
that
that they would, but I
little
think that like they could. Like, what if they just like tacked on Sarah, tacked on? I don't know. I don't know if that like Michelle or Adam would want to join them or not. I don't know. I feel like they could just add on where
Michelle would join them. Michelle would join Jeremy.
But if
I
they
just don't know if I
switch
see
out
Michelle fitting
Jeremy
in with like.
just for Nick and Wendell.
I don't know. I don't think like Tony and Kim want to go back with those guys, but I mean, you don't know. It's hard to say.
I wonder if
think
Denise and Adam want to work together. I think they do, but like I really wonder if they want to work together after Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Adam has to work with someone.
Or.
or nobody wants to. Nobody works with Adam. And
I feel like don't look at me. We have the same birthday. We have the same birthday. I was an RA in college. He was an RA in college. I was always like, yo, Adam is like who I want to model my application after. And now I'm like, you know what? Good. I'm chilling. 180. But yeah, so if there's nothing else.
I think that's where we wrap this up, and then we stop recording, start talking Australia.
Yes.
So good.
Look forward to our Brant Steele coming soon.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I'll convince the other 3 people. If you're watching this far, just know by the time you see the next episode, there'll be a Brant Steele in motion.
Do you want to wait until like in between seasons when we don't have a lot of content?
Okay, fair.
I mean, we're already quarantined, so
That's what I'm saying. I'm so bored.
yeah.
Really?
I can't see any of my IRL friends. I want to see my online friends.
Nebraska hasn't been officially quarantined yet. I don't think we will be unless it's a countrywide thing. We'll see.
I've been in my house for a week.
Sucks.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
still,
I want
I'm
air.
still working as close to full time as I can convince them to let me. But it is tough not being able to like come home and play board games with anybody. Definitely agree. I'm feeling the quarantine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it hasn't affected me much yet. But
All right,
that's
we're
just
getting
my
so off
lifestyle.
topic. Anybody
Yeah,
want
what's
to
up
do a closing remark?
I'm good. Let's see Tony go to the end.
Yeah.
But
I just want to say R.I.P. to Parvati and Sandra. Like, it's easy for me to like go and like critique all the other people who have been voted out because I don't like stand them. Like, I'm not obsessed with anybody else who's been voted out. But it's hard to like say like that Parvati or Sandra did anything wrong because they're amazing and they're icons of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to give the new schoolers the same chance to become just as legendary.
I agree, and I think they will. Somebody will be a legend after the season.
Yes.
Definitely. All right. Thanks for watching this far.
Thank you.
Tune in next time, and we are. Wait.